Long ago, in a land far, far away, people would tell each other stories, tales of myths and legends. So pull up by the fire and let me tell you a tale from Somewhen Else.
Ghost Farm by Zach Chapman. Outside the manor, rain pelted the lower landscape, turning the fields to marsh and the roads to muck. An impossibly broad figure stood alone, trotting away with a spade, digging shallow, unmarked graves. A dozen luxury vehicles seemed out of place, parked neatly next to the gravedigger and slanted manor. Inside the manor, a potential client spoke with a fake British accent. "I never drink anything bottled this century," he said, waving his chubby hand, dismissing the complimentary wine. The waiter nodded and continued down the table, pouring the dark wine for any client who wanted. Altogether, there were 13. Most were over 40. All were white. They complained loudly over their empty dinner plates. The steak had been too bloody, far too rare, and there was a sweet stench to the manor, like rotten candy. It was almost midnight. When the hour finally struck, a chime filled the dining hall, and a tall man wearing a well-tailored suit appeared at the head of the table. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I trust the meal was rather filling. My name is Irving. I will be your representative and tour guide tonight. You have already read and signed the release, so you'll know that before you can see any of our products, you'll be strip searched for cell phones, electronic devices, and anything that may be used as a recording device." A few clients who had not read the fine print grumbled at that. "We have streamlined the process. Your comfort is one of our greatest concerns. Though after any purchases," he smiled wickedly, "at the side of the room, a curtain raised revealing two doors. Strip searches shall be quick. Once this is over, we go downstairs to the sub-villa." After every client momentarily shed their timeless former attire behind closed doors, Irving led them down to a cracked spiral staircase. The smell of wet stone and many years betrayed the age of the place. It was much older than the slanted manor that was built around it. Centuries old. More than that, timeless and dark. Irving brought the clients to a halt. "Once you step off the staircase and into the antechamber, you shall be in a very elite, very small group. Even if you don't purchase any of our products, fewer than 1,100 souls have passed through these hallways." He paused for impeccable dramatic effect. "Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?" The group flowed out of the spiral staircase, nearly tripping over themselves in excitement, and crowded the hallway. The sub-villa has been in business for many years. As you should know, our products are world famous, so of course our business does not take credit. Tonight, you will see all products we have to offer at the moment. Here are some testimonies and glimpse the casting process. Irving ushered the clients forward through the cramped hallway. "Without further ado, let us meet the first product." Black rock walls and sconces and echoes flanked the clients. Irving led the party to a windowed panel, nothing but shadows on the other side. When he flipped the panel on the sidewall, a light on the other side of the panel flickered on. Though the warped glass, rows of pews faced them. Sitting on a pew was a bearded man, gray and withered. To his left lay a rope with 3 thick, bloody knots tied at one end. On a second inspection, one could see wet, visible protrusions from under his robe, welts the size of a child's fist. The sub-villa has named him the Apostate. He has been with us for 20 years. He is our most budget-friendly product. "How much?" a client asked. Irving's thin mustache twitched. "Please hold all questions regarding pricing for your after-tour appraising consultation." Now, before we apprehended him, the apostate was charged with abusing an altar boy. He has been repenting for quite some time now. Still, this product is not advised for households with small children. "How are the products chosen?" a woman in her early 40s asked. "We have a large database. Where subjects are monitored, there are many determining factors. We ensure that we have a large variety of products at any given time." "Mr. Irving, What physical object will the product haunt? That is a good question. In the apostate's rare case, the client will have the option to choose. Irving pointed through the window. Between that crucifix he wears and that gruesome rope. More details will be reviewed on the casting process later this evening. Let us continue on to more of our products. Just as the holding cell became black, another one down the hallway lit up. The woman from earlier touched the glass, running her fingers over the ancient warps. If you could, avoid touching the glass. Your psychic resonance may disrupt our process. Also, unwanted products may taint you. The Subvila does not condone any trauma or psychic phenomena brought on without the purchase of our products. If you witness any, please see one of our certified exorcists for a diagnosis and plan. Let me be clear. Haunts without purchase is theft of service. Inside the next cell stood a mumbling woman. Irving hefted a lever up and down until the glass shook and slowly disappeared into the ceiling as he cranked it. At the soft noise of Irving's assertions, the woman looked up. Swollen holes gaped under her eyebrows. Many of the clients gasped. Irving stepped forward into the cell. If you want to touch, now is a good opportunity. Please, dip your hands in our psychic disinfectant agent. It's a variant of Vatican holy water brewed with something special. He motioned to a bowl at the side of the cell. This will ensure there is no residual bleeding. You may touch her arms, cheek, hair, but please, don't be too invasive. Upon hearing Irving's voice, the woman wailed but made no motion to move. Her mouth was absent of teeth and tongue. Several clients quickly washed their hands in the disinfectant and began running their hands on her cold skin. A red-headed woman was too terrified to proceed. Two others also refused to touch the blind woman. Cold feet, Irving did his best to hide a grin. He continued his pitch. This one is modeled after the classic Hague, a beautiful Gothic legend. Many accounts of similar past products have stated the entity floats above their beds, howling. Witnesses report a dread so deep it causes paralysis, or a terror that causes involuntary screaming. Extreme cases may cause shortness of breath, or an inability to scream. In recent years, we put a warning on these products. Avoid buying if household members suffer from asthma or any chronic disorders that disrupt normal breathing. The more excited client spoke giddily. Ah, feel how cold she is, Martha. Oh, creepy. Darling, isn't she wonderful? She reminds me of grandmother. Ooh, I like her. That moan she makes is terrifying. It looks like she's weeping blood. Her skin, it's so cold it feels real. Irving smiled. I assure you, she's real. There are many more products for you to see tonight. Now you've had a chance to touch her, please rinse your hands in the holy water, provided at the exit. This is mandatory. Reluctant fingers wiggled away from the hag's skin. Irving motioned the crowd out of the cell as he spoke. As I said before, some products we have are similar to popular ones sold in the past. However, this does not mean each product isn't unique. Every entity is an individual, different from its predecessors. So we are not getting a generic Hague? Sir, none of our products are generic. Irving said he lowered the glass panel shut behind the last exiting client. Irving led the way to the next cell. Inside stood a man who must have been 7 feet tall. Long, stringy hair fell past his broad, slumped shoulders. At some point, he freed himself from a straitjacket. Broken buckles and ripped seams dangled off of him. The patient, when he was 14, he murdered his family with a curdless circular assault, after tying them to their beds in their sleep. Before the Subvila obtained the patient, he terrorized and killed 4 families. He's heavily sedated to keep him in a safe, manageable state. When obtaining this one, he broke a Vila employee's neck and vivisected him. We suggest this product goes to a home whose occupant is intimately familiar with the paranormal, preferably one who has a strong connection with his or her spirit guide. The patient slowly walked towards the glass, staring intently through it. A vein in the patient's forehead pulsed, and he bared his teeth. A shudder ran through the clients. At first his screams were incomprehensible. His face swelled red. Spit fleckered the glass divider, but on the other side, his thunderous voice, little more than a murmur. I'll break down this glass wall. and stab you with the shards. Do you hear me? Even with the sedation drugs, he is rather excitable. Irving pulled out a handkerchief and dabbed his forehead. It appeared to be a practice motion. Suddenly, the patient pounded on the glass. The boom echoed off the stone floor and ceilings. He thrust his fist against the glass again, the metal buckles making sharp pangs as they slapped against the barrier. A client's laughter rode back. Oh, I like this one. He has audacity. He'd make a great fright to put in my brother's house. Boom, boom, boom. Irving looked uneasy as the glass wavered. Hairline cracks manifested at the edges. Irving's tenor voice was even. If you would all step back from the patient. The patient's fist smashed through the glass, sending shards and droplets of blood across the hall. Clients shrieked, scattering away in all directions. Irving put himself between the clients and the patients, snatching a device from inside his breast pocket. His long finger pulled the trigger of an electrical stun gun as the patient closed in on him. 2 electrode darts shot from the gun and found purchase in the patient's hulking chest. Click, click, click. His attacker dropped immediately, convulsing. His head cracked against the floor and his eyes rolled up into his skull. White foam frothed from his mouth, then slowly turned brown as it mixed with blood. Irving raised thin eyebrows as a quiet applause passed through the clients. I apologize. It appears something unprofessional always tends to happen. Is anyone hurt? No. Good. Any questions about this beast? A client, clearly trying to hide a large erection, asked him, Can we kill him? Sorry? I mean, if we purchase this product, are we allowed to physically kill them before the casting process? They have to die anyways before that. Can we be the ones to do that? You'll have to work out that during your after-tour appraising consultation. It is doable, but surely it'll be more expensive. None of the other clients had any questions. Mostly they stared at the patient's twitching body, watching as dark liquid filled the cracks in the stone floor. Irving ushered them forward, and the gorgeous redhead client asked, What about him? Our staff is already on it. Let's round the corner. We'll come back to visit the rest of the products on this row after this mess has been tended to. Irving showed the potential clients a variety of inspired products. Mr. Voodoo, the Addict, the Bride, Chirino of Leon, the Doctor, the Twins 1 and 2, a unique set of products. Yatsuya, the Samurai, Banshee, the Infected Jaw, the Father, Klepto, the Paraplegic. Unfortunately, there was a lull of cliched products down the final corridor, all with similar origins and product warnings. Cutter, the Slaver, Slicer, Ripper, the Tongueless, and the Butcher. Just as the clients grew reckless, Irving led them away from the cells to a room full of wooden racks. This is the totem incubation room. The odor of mold and the atmosphere of the small room, and mixed with a more sinister scent, the smell of earth and shadows, of things that have died but still live. Hundreds of totems lined the shelving. On the one closest to Irving sat jewelry, a framed black and white photograph, a thick leather book, a sharpened spoon, china figures, a metal rook piece, several crucifixes, a scepter, a rusted cordless circular saw, and a globe. Some in the group chatted lightheartedly over which products they planned to buy. A few others grumbled complaints. Their tone edged towards bitterness when one client discovered another wanted the same haunt. I wonder how that will be determined during our after-tour appraising consultation. The disgruntled client spat on the other as their argument escalated. Irving cut the two off. Gentlemen and ladies, mind these items. This is where alternative totems are stored. Touching one during the process can be quite detrimental to your psychic health. The group quieted down and listened to Irving talk about the details of how exactly souls were bound to the totems. To his left, 5 ropes with embroidered runes, dimly glowing. To his right was a vat of dark liquid. Irving explained that the vat contained liquid morphic Renaissance amplifiers and that the robes help the caster, sometimes he himself, channel the soul into the correct medium, the chosen totem, by matching certain vibrational frequencies.
As Irving neared the end of his explanation, an elderly client reached for a golden locket dangling off a splintered shelf. As his fingers wrapped around it, the lights flickered. Irving's eyes darted to the man's grasp on the totem. Like a bullwhip, Irving snatched the totem out of the client's fingers. He chanted loudly as the whole room began to rumble. Totems rattled on their racks. A field fell to the floor. Smoke boiled from the tight fist Irving had made around the locket. A client shrieked. Irving dipped his hand in the vat, pulled it out, and slammed it down on the closest surface available. Flexing his fist several times, he sighed and wrapped his handkerchief around his trembling hand. That was dangerous. Everyone in here was at risk. He shook his head. Tonight has been quite adventurous. Very well. I believe this to be the climax of our evening. The tour is adjourned. He led them out of the totem incubation room. Now there are two paths to choose from. Path 1, you are ready to make your purchase and be consulted through your appraising consultation. He peered around, making eye contact with each individual potential client. Path 2, maybe the thought of owning a ghost no longer seems as glamorous as you had once thought. Maybe you just took the tour and never had any intention of buying. Maybe the tour has disgusted you. Or maybe you just aren't ready for the purchase. He continued as a mammoth-sized man stepped out of the shadows. Option 1, form a line and follow Brute out of the antechamber. Pardon his saturated state. He's been digging graves to accommodate the new sales. Option 2, please follow me. I'll lead you to the exit. 4 clients, led by the red-headed woman, fell in behind Irving. Irving cocked an eyebrow at her. Are you certain? No product struck your fancy? Very certain, she said, determination in her voice. Right then, no swaying you. He marched the 4 down the gloomy corridor until they reached the 1930s-style elevator. He motioned the clients ahead of him, through the folding, lattice doors, and said, Ladies and gentlemen, careful on your step. This old elevator bounces and sways. He helped each one into the elevator and took a step back into the hallway as the lattice doors slammed shut. Steel cables cried under the weight of the occupants. What's the meaning of this? The redhead demanded. Are you going to show us out or not? How are we to get to our cars? Root will have to deal with your cars, I'm afraid. One of you asked earlier how we obtain our products. Now you'll see firsthand. He cranked the lever to the side of the elevator. Instead of going up, the elevator shook, then descended slowly. Shouts filled the chamber. Yes, Irving thought. What great specimens. One day, they'll make great haunts. You can't do this. Stop this elevator right now. Irving turned, walking away to where the real money was, and whistled a tune. The shout stalked him as he strode, so he whistled harder. Now, he thought, time to make some sales. Hey there. If you made it all the way to the end of this tale, you have many, many thanks from me. Thanks for listening to this story from another time. And if you have a moment, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This helps me to know someone is out there listening. Otherwise, feel free to check out other stories and videos on the channel. And one final thank you for listening to this tale from Somewhen Else. Take care and keep safe.